Alright, testing, testing, 1, 2. Alright, testing, testing, 1, 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2. Hopefully that helps. Okay. YouTube is functioning correctly, it seems. Let's go to stream health. Okay, stream health is excellent. Let's check the stream health of Kick. This is healthy. Okay, that's good. And then this is live. Doesn't tell me anything about the health of the stream, though. To hell with it. If it dies, it dies. Okay, layer output 1 updated. Let's reload this and see if it gives me any information. Oh, unstable. Oh, fucking course. It's always unstable. Okay. So everything seems to be working, and Twitch seems to be a fucking bastard as always. Okay, let's up this. I can make sure that this is actually on the correct setting. Okay, that's on public. Okay, good, because the last thing I want to do is stream to YouTube on fucking private for some reason. Hey! Oh, wait. Ah, it doesn't really matter.
The skies are sealed, the soil lies slain. The world worm strangles, it starves the plain. No grain for the fields, no life left to grow. But I bear my blade where the black winds blow. My father fell, chasing the sun. Now I stand where his struggles begun. The holy folk mourn as they glide through the sky. Their stars turn to tears as the rivers run dry. The thunderer's voice, like the storm in my blood, commands me to fight through the fury and flood. Oh, sky father, hear me. I march to the storm to challenge the serpent in its terrible form. Oh, heaven, Lord, guide me, let my heart be true. I fight for the rain, and I fight for you.
Hello there, Mysterious Aya. Thank you for the sub.
With fire and fear in the wormkin's domain, I'll break the beast's back and bring back the rain. The bear cats bellow from the bamboos bend, while the flat ape men guard where the jungles end. Through the thicket I trek toward the mountain's old crest, where the gold ape men build the great dragon's nest. The night gangers lurk with their laughter and lies, but I won't be undone by the shadow-eyed spies. The great spirit watches, his wind fills my sail as I follow the thunder through the dragon's dark trail, where the barrowly paces, where the wild winds sing. I sharpen my sword for the death of the king. Oh, sky father, hear me. I march to the storm to challenge the serpent in its terrible form. Oh, heaven, Lord, guide me, let my heart be true. I fight for the rain.
Hello there, Cabin. I'm glad you can make it, right? Had a couple of technical problems get this started, right?
rises, it hissed like a cry. Its coils crush the clouds, its venom drips black. But a glimpse of the bronze snake holds time back. Timeless and true in the heavens he waits. His gaze shatters the darkness, breaks open the gates. No poison can pierce where his light is revealed. His sight alone makes the mortal wounds healed. A sign of the future, a cure.
Your vacation's over, right? Well, I hope you enjoy your. Hope you enjoy going back to work. I hope you enjoyed your vacation as well. Hello, Spartan Bot. Hello there, Mind of Raw.
And fought with the dead.
It's understandable, Spartan.
If I fall as my father in the winds and the wild, remember my love, the heart of your child. Out a fought for the fields, for the fury and flame, for our sons to remember and carry our name. The God of gods watches from sky silver and bright. I face the world worm and won back the night. Though my bones may be broken and lost to the rain, my love will remain till we meet once again.
Okay, before it gets on to part 3 of that, right? This is a 3-parter, as you can see, right? I'm gonna use that last part as like the outro. When I struggle to find someone I could actually fucking raid this time, right? Unlike last time, where it was like, who in God's green earth is on YouTube that I could actually raid? Right? The people on YouTube don't let me raid. Oh my goodness, that was so tilting. Yeah, 2 weeks would be torture for me as well. Cabot, oh my god. Been doing some vibe coding the past few days. I gotta get back on trying to, again, get that chess game I invented, you know, coded into a game. I just refuse to use Claude now because of the way that they've been destroying books. You know, I don't, it doesn't vibe with me, right? Let's see. Thank you for the 7 consecutive stream watches. All right. So let's see. Where do we start? I guess we could put this here, so we can start with chibi reviews, and we can go to the Cinder clip, and then probably talk about Islam for a bit. Let's see. Probably these two. Yeah, okay, so these two, this one, and then we put this one over here. Because this is going to be interesting, because I'm going to go and read through this whole thing. This is going to be fun. I had a local setup. Okay, I was going to say, like, what happened to the setup, right? So these are a little bit late. That's not 3 days ago. I just haven't updated this in a bit, right? So let me refresh these pages. That way I can actually respond to them. 13 days ago. Damn. I've been a bit busy. Okay, let's try this one too. Restart this one. Okay. If I can get this thing to work. There we go. Okay, let's turn off that. Let's turn that off. Let's see. Ever agreed with someone and they decided to choose violence for no reason? Verbal violence? It's happened to me before. I'm not gonna pretend like that hasn't happened. It has happened to me before. What's the case for this? Right? What happened? Well, I lost that. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. Hello, Kura. Right. I was supposed to talk about this like 2 weeks ago, and I kind of got busy and I lost it in this sea of, as you can see at the top, fucking tabs. But yeah, so let us begin. Alright, so right now we're going to react to 2 videos by Chibi Reviews that I should have reacted to a while ago. It's just, as you can see at the top here, my tabs are jumbled up and incomprehensible, right? So we're going to be reacting first to Screen Act Failed, but there's bad news for the internet. And because there is, and then Steam bans Yuri games permanently for banks and payment processors. So again, we need to start normalizing cryptocurrency, like actual cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin and Monero, because you can't, like, they can't have power over that. Literally, like, it's not actually possible for them unless they're going to invest tons of money to get all of the Bitcoin, and then still, anyway. So it would be unfeasible. Let's just say that, even for a bank. So, let us begin.
The Screen Act that threatened the entire internet with digital ID, age verification, and biometric scanning officially died within the Senate today. It did not receive the required amount of votes to be able to become a law. And
thank God. But also, be very mindful of everyone who wanted this to pass, right? Every single one of these people who wanted this to pass, and I'm covering Chibi, I should probably move my character, but every single one of these fuckers who wanted it to pass, they all saw what happened to, oh, I have it locked, that's why. They all saw what happened to Charlie Kirk. They all saw how the left reacted, right? To even leftists, right? To even leftists who disagree with them. You know, the violence timing is not on the right. It is definitely on the left, right? And they know that eventually the left will come back into power, and the left is not used to the right actually saying no and putting their foot down, right? So get ready for when the left gets back into power. There is a very strong, there's a very strong possibility that they will absolutely leverage the powers of the state to screw you. And seeing a little bit about that right now in New York, aren't you? Right? So let's see. Tabception, exactly right. Someone was using reference to show the anti-AI was stupid. Like, if you use AI, you aren't a real artist. I agree with the poster, but they seem to deliberately misunderstand that I was being sassy in my agreement. People using reference to use to draw with. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's just them being retarded, to be perfectly honest. Very strong chance they buy the next election again. Well, again, that's why they should be, instead of passing a new law to just do what already existing laws have been, you know, they're supposed to do, they should just be enforcing the already existing laws, right? That's the real criticism with the Save America Act, is that it does not actually provide that much more than what already exists on the books. And if they're not enforcing what's already on the books, what makes you think that they're going to enforce anything new that comes on the books, right? That's just the solution to existing laws not being enforced is not to pass a new law that does the same thing. If they didn't enforce the first law, what makes you think they're going to enforce the second law? It's a very hard concept for people to get through, but yes, we're in a bad spot, but we can still get it, and we don't necessarily have to lose the next election, but we got to be able to make compromises on things that aren't actually that important. And this is one of those ones that is important, because as the left comes into power and all of these all of these identity verification systems exist and the federal government has access to them, what do you think is going to happen to these databases, right? First of all, even if they're not under the leftist control, they're going to get hacked, and your account is going to get tagged to your name, which means that, if someone has a bone to pick with you, they will find you. And yeah, it's even going to be even worse if the left again gets into power and they have access to these structures. Do not set up structures that will kill you in the hands of your enemies, right? Because your enemies will get their hands on it. But think of the children. You know what? That's a good question. I should think of the children. We should beat, senseless the negligent parents that let their children become addicted to pornography, right? I think that actually solves the problem. I think that adds a pretty good incentive structure to make sure your kids stay monitored online, right?
So that is a very small victory that we received today. However, this is where I have to say the word "but" followed by bad news, because obviously there was other things that were being voted on today that wasn't just the Screen Act.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, here's the thing. I can't believe I've had to tell this to people a lot. Like, everyone likes to quote the whole scandalize, the punishment for those who scandalize the innocents, right? Well, there's two ways you can scandalize the innocent. The first way is by actively scandalizing them, abusing them. The second way you can scandalize an innocent is by is through negligence, through not protecting them in the way that you were supposed to in the first place, right? And that responsibility goes not to the king, it goes to the parents, right? Like. Oh my goodness, it's just so infuriating. I'm sick and tired of being fucking held hostage by the bottom of the barrel of society. Society should not have to bend over for parents who won't do their own fucking who won't fulfill their own fucking obligations, right? Like, there's plenty of good parents out there who actually do what they're supposed to do, and actually are good parents. There's a lot of parents out there that are bad, and just. I'm tired of like not being able to point out that it's like, hey, maybe you're responsible for the shit your kid, for being negligent as a parent if something happens because of your negligence, right?
What was being voted on, which you can see on screen right here, was COSA. S1748 COSA, which I have talked about in a video, and many other massive content creators like Moist Critical, Rev, and even Asmongold briefly talked about this over a year and a half ago.
Yeah, again, we can't get the files, but, we can get this passed. Interesting, right? Interesting. I hate these people.
You might have heard more about COSA than you've actually heard about the Screen Act, because COSA, more or less, is the exact same thing as what...
Matthew 8:6, but whoso shall offend one of these little ones, which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depths of the sea. Yeah, again, but there's, as I said, there's two ways to scandalize or offend in this case, right? And that's either by negligence or by active, transgression. They're both transgressions, right? Transgression through inaction and transgression through action are both transgressions, right?
What the UK did with its Digital Online Safety Act. For instance, like, how it kind of brought the internet to hills within the UK.
Yeah, again, this is exactly what they want to do. They want to make it they want to be able to curtail what is actually possible to say online, right? These people, there's a reason why in Italy, in Australia, across Europe, and in the United States, at very similar times, right, all of these internet surveillance acts are getting pushed at the same time. It boggles the mind, right? It's like it activates the almonds. Why would everyone be pushing the same shit, at the same time? And you look at the COSA, and COSA is effectively just the law that the UK fucking initiated just now in America, right? And it's like, I wonder what the motivations were for passing the kill the internet laws in the United Kingdom, right? After they had, it's just, oh my god, these people are not, these people do not have your best interests at heart. Oh Lord Shimonetta, right? This was supposed to be satire, not a guide, right?
Causing age verification and spying and everything. That's what the Online Safety Act did within the UK, and we have seen the damages that has caused to that country and how it has had a rippling effect on everything else that's followed.
Make no mistake. The left wants to be able to identify you through, that's why they attack your privacy. And the right, allegedly, right, the rhinos actually, the right in name only, right, who actually cooperate with the left on this stuff knows that the left wants to actually have your name so that they can do things to you, right? We all saw what, again, we all saw what kind of violence the left advocates through, you know, at least stochastic terrorism. And we're also fairly familiar with the kind of violence that, again, Islam, you know, there's the whole Red-Green Alliance I've been talking about, perpetrates against its critics and, you know, the people who leave it. I wonder why I wonder why the left might might be pushing for this, and I wonder why people on the alleged right might be pushing for this as well. It's almost as if some of these people on the alleged right are actually not on the right at all, but are LARPers on the left who just like the, what would you say, the appearance of being on the right. They actually don't disagree with the premises of the left at all. Just
And in this case, COSA was more or less the equivalent of that. Very similar to what the Online Safety Act for the UK is. And that officially passed within the Senate. And obviously, I don't need to go any further to say this is a very bad thing.
See, the thing is, the thing is, why do we have people who don't understand how the internet works making laws about how the internet should work? That's a question that I want to know, right? You would imagine that if people are going to be making laws about a thing, they should actually understand how these things actually work, right? And yet we are beholden to this fucking nightmare dystopia where we have to listen to people who don't understand how these technologies work actually tell us how these technologies have to be, have to be regulated. It's incredibly infuriating. And I can't say that, but anyone who's familiar with American history might know where, might know my position on the issue of tyranny, right? there might be a Latin phrase on that exact issue.
However, I want to make sure I make this fundamentally clear. Just because it passed the Senate today doesn't necessarily mean that it is a law yet. It is not. Actually, there is some bit of good news when it comes to this announcement. For instance, first off, the Senate and the House, they have to come to an agreement to be able to decide if it will actually officially become a law or not. If the Senate and House basically bicker and can't decide on what they approve of within the actual bill, then it will die, regardless of it passing the Senate. However,
this is also why this system exists this way, right? The ability to kill a bill after it has passed through one layer. So you have like a dual security layer here. And yeah.
Is conversations right now that some of the people that voted in the Senate today to be able to get COSA passed are willing to budge to be able to make the House agree with them. For instance, I want to bring up this conversation right here that was mentioned. Basically, Ted Cruz, he was someone that was talking about the Kids Online Safety Act today, and basically, he wants the Senate to be able to potentially bring up the Kids Online Safety Act to fully pass by September of this year.
Well, Ted Cruz is a fucking idiot, and we all know this, right? Ted Cruz is one of these examples of these fucking, they're not actually on the quote-unquote right. They're right in name only, right? Like, again, why does he want to create a database that would be easily hacked by people who want to see, like, things actually happen? Oh, there goes my model. But, again, why does he want to give our enemies a database that they can, again, look up who we are and then destroy us through doxing, through stochastic terrorism, through all this stuff, right? Easily hackable. It's because he's either a useful idiot, which is entirely possible, or he actually doesn't have a principled objection to this kind of thing existing anyway, right? So you're, again, a useful sacrifice on his own steps to his own goals, right? So the other one is cause them to commit sin is included. Can't remember that verse. Might be the same chapter, but I'm really tired tonight. That's understandable. Did you see the council meeting where the guy was arguing freedom of speech, said we remove blasphemy laws, so here's a picture of Muhammad lost the collective minds? Oh, I'm pretty sure I saw that, right? Again, also pay attention to who people are allying with, right? And it's like, yes, the left is allying with Islam. This can't possibly go any fucking worse. This can't possibly go bad, right? Islam's a traditionalist religion, right? They got conservative values. Go away, right? We don't need the help of anyone who thinks this.
bring it to the floor to basically see if it will become law or not. So we have a few months until basically it officially is either a law or it dies within the Senate with the whole voting. But before that, basically the House and the Senate have to come to an agreement if they agree on what's within it. And more or less the big thing here is that a lot of the people within the House that passed KOSA to be able to bring it to the Senate, they marked up their own Kids Online Safety Act, and it's a very serious, like crazy, amount of things you have to do to be able to even access the internet. And basically, yes, some of the people in the Senate, they don't fully agree with what the House wants within that. However,
yeah, obviously, right? Yeah, because again, why do you want to restrict the internet? You want to restrict the internet because you want to restrict people's ability to actually access information anonymously, right? In fact, actually, the reason why, because you notice that in the United Kingdom when they passed these laws, right? They did it after they allowed people 16 years old to vote, right? But then they restricted what people under the age of 18 can actually view. It was like, interesting. I wonder why you would do that, right? You reduce the amount of political information that people under 18 can get. It's almost as if you're trying to create a permanent voting block that you can exploit, right? Let's see. Bill Maher, I don't like to give him credit, but he's been calling out Islam a lot here lately. I mean, Bill, he's been consistent against Islam too, right? Bill Maher is a broken clock. Yes, twice a day kind of deal. But there's also a third way that this can possibly be stopped, at least in the temporary, and that's through a presidential veto, right? And hopefully, if the House and the Senate are filled with retards, a presidential veto will be fucking enacted. But this is kind of ridiculous. Again, get your encryption and get your encryption tools and get your privacy tools because they're coming for your privacy. And my suggestion would be just don't use the internet on within the United States, and that's not that hard thanks to the magics that we have through our technology, right? just saying.
Some of the centers,
although to be fair, they'll try to go after the VPNs too, so they're going to try to attack that too. If they're going to attack this, there's no way that they're not going to try to attack VPNs because again, the goal is to try to destroy your capacity to be private, right? Your capacity to just not be tracked. Just to be anonymous. That's what they want to destroy.
Francis Cruz here, he has straight up said that he is willing to budge to be able to basically make it work for the House, as you can see. So there is already conversations to where there is potentially something going on behind the scenes to where KOSA, Kids Online Safety Act, will potentially be voted on and maybe pass this September if there is enough changes that satisfies both sides. Now,
this is also one of the proofs that democracy is a false god, right? All you have to do to get a bill passed, apparently, is to give it a nice sounding name, right? Kids Online Safety Act. What do you? Do you hate kids? Do you hate the safety of kids online, right? I bet you oppose the Patriot Act, right? Because you hate America. How could you? Why should I listen to you? You hate America. You oppose the Patriot Act, right? What, you don't like affordable health care? Get out of here, right? Again, you just got to give it a good name, and all of a sudden, bad policies become like unquestionable to a lot of people. Because a lot of these people, again, there's a lot more people than you think that when they hear I'm from the government and I'm here to help, they don't actually recoil in terror, right? This includes apparently people on the right, apparently, who see stuff like this and it's like, yes, it's the I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And all they hear is, yes, they hear the title, and then they don't look into anything in the bill. And it's like, yes, you are literally the people on the left that we complain about. Oh my God. I hate democracy with a passion. Right? Universal suffrage was an absolute mistake. Not even, just in general, the vast majority of people should not be permitted to vote.
I do want to make sure this is very, very clear here. At this time, there is still enough time to call your representative of your state to stop this, to be able to tell them that you do not like KOSA, that you do not want this to pass, and that it should be outright denied.
Yes, again, what he's suggesting is actually an option. Don't just call him. Fucking, again, tweet them as well, email them if you can. I know it's the email thing might not necessarily be as effective, but a lot of these dickheads, they pay attention to what happens on Twitter and social media, right? So fucking call them out on social media, tell them, again, why this is a bad idea, and then call them as well, right? you got to bump those numbers up, right? You got to actually voice, you got to fight for your right to just grill if you want to continue to just grill kind of deal, right? A man who does not fight for his right to just grill will soon find that he is not allowed to grill at all. Let's see. Democracy, much like communism, sounds okay on paper, but it's absolutely retarded. I don't think it sounds good on paper at all. Democracy is literally just mob rule by definition, right? What the mob says is true. And in fact, there's an actual underlying problem with democracy, and it's the same problem with communism, and that it actually turns the emergent into the thing that's primary, not the foundational. Right? It's like when you're talking about like democracy or you're talking about communism, when you look at them as political systems, the most real thing is not the individual, it's the collective, right? The quote unquote people, whatever the hell that is. And this is a problem because this is a complete inversion of reality, right? Ontologically speaking, it is entirely possible for an individual to exist. It's not a particularly good life, but it is entirely possible for an individual to exist without a society. This has happened multiple times with endlings of, for example, various tribes. You know, they don't just die, they do continue on. It is, again, but if you do the opposite and you get rid of, instead of the group, you get rid of the individuals, there is no group left, right? Literally, democracy and communism commit the intellectual crime of reification, making into something that which is nothing. Right? They literally have to invert reality in order to make their system make sense. They have to make an abstract into something higher than a concrete. And this is the ultimate problem with both communism and democracy. And the two they're actually not that dissimilar, right? Like, the whole point of communism is that the will of all of the people has to be aligned into one will, right? So in a very real sense, communism is the logical endpoint of democracy. Right? Because what does a democracy incentivize? When you further and further democratize, the unproductive then get to leech off of the productive class, right? And so the unproductive leeches turn what's yours and what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine, right? And so that's exactly how you end up going from, again, strongly enforced property right laws to there is no property in Soviet Russia, comrade, right? It's like they're not extricable. Like, at least in a republican system, there is at least some concept of a safeguard. But again, with democracy and with communism, they commit the exact same problem, intellectual dishonesty. So, yeah, no, I don't even think democracy sounds good on paper, right? Like, you could use the example of, like, let's use an example of democracy right here, right? You got a group of 10 men on a deserted island, never going to get found again, right? There's only one woman, right? I'll let you imagine how that democracy could possibly go wrong, right?
Stuff like that, you can easily do that right now. It is not GG yet. I just want to make sure that is fundamentally clear. But this is a very, very big deal. Because obviously right now, it is in the process of potentially being turned into a law. And
what you're going to learn is that Asmongold is actually completely right about some of his stuff. When Asmongold said always chimp out, he's not wrong, right? Because the only thing these people seem to fucking listen to is people chimping the fuck out, right? And yeah, it may turn out that the only way to actually get, to actually be heard is to, at the same time, have people producing material showing why this is a reasonable position, but at the same time, showing that chimping out is absolutely on the table, right? And in fact, we know chimping out works. Chimping out worked in 1776. What the fuck do you think that was, right? Like, that was the first American chimp out, was 1776. And it worked, and it was right and proper because because, again, the monarch lost the mandate of heaven, right? But anyway, I digress. I'm not going to go into a thing about that. That's democracy you walk away from and stay away while they self-destruct. Well, again, they get to decide. It's a democracy, right? So they get to decide whether or not you have a right to even self-exclude. Unless you have the right to use lethal force to tell someone to stay the fuck away from you, right? which, by the way, is why the democracy oftentimes goes after your right to self-defense, because your right to self-defense means the right to, permanently end the life of an aggressor as the quickest way to stop an aggressor from harming you, right? Because it turns out in the heat of the moment, it actually might just be quicker and safer to, again, put someone 6 feet under than to, then take the time to try to jujitsu him onto the ground, especially if he has a knife and you have a gun, right? So that's the reason they do that. The reason that democracy takes away your gun is because democracy wants to do things to you that it can't do if you have a gun, right? And every single person who takes away your gun rights, whether they be that damnable bump stop ban or any other of these unconstitutional rulings, right, and laws, they are trying to set that system up that they can do to you what they couldn't do if you had access to your guns, right? You should be absolutely ungovernable, and that means you should, if you can, move to a place where you can own guns. You should get guns. You should be actually maintaining those firearms for use, just in case, on the very off chance the boog happens, right? Because again, chimping out in the case where it's like the Battle of Athens happens, right? Battle of Athens is a prime example of chimping out actually works, right? I'm not saying that is our first solution. It should not be. We should avoid that at all. We should avoid that as much as possible. But we should also remember, chipping out is actually a possible solution. You just have to make sure that if you're going to take that solution, you can actually win, right? Anyway, saw the title on YouTube. Where's Bouncy? We will get it after the Chippy review stuff. Look at all the blue cities and states. Yeah, the right to self-defense. Exactly, right? Hello, Boo Huckley. Hello, Runya. Hello, Beeritarian. I don't know if I said hello to Beeritarian yet. I just read this thing. But yeah, and actually, speaking of which, that right there is what you brought up, Beeritarian. That right there, the right to self-exclude, that is one of the fundamental rights that Karl Marx actually attacks. Is your right to exclude yourself from the group, because he doesn't believe you own yourself in the first place, right? Again, he believes the collective is more real than the individual, right? You belong to the collective. So if you exclude yourself from the collective, you are excluding from the collective what the collective owns, right? The only way that you can avoid being the slave of a collectivist is be armed and be willing to use it to defend your rights, right? But again, peaceful means whenever that's possible, right? Just pointing that out there.
I don't think I need to talk about how both sides just within this week has been messing with age verification, Republicans and Democrats. We had a Texas judge that basically went out of their way to force Discord to start having age verification using the same systems that the UK has for Discord.
Again, it's like, this is literally just the United Kingdom's law, just now in the United States, right? It's like, oh yeah, even the same systems are being used in its implementation, right? Interesting. I wonder why so many people who are championing this on the right are championing this when all of them are allegedly bitching and moaning about, again, like international powers trying to attack our sovereignty. It's kind of interesting that they don't seem to care about this. It's almost as if that was never actually the issue at all, right? Let's see. We all need to own tanks. Hello and beer me too. Hello, just someone, right?
And we had New York basically force in, the Attorney General of New York, by the way, force in age verification as well within the state, which I talked about the other day. Now, we also have a little bit more news besides just that. We also have stuff like this right here, where even Newgrounds within the state of Texas is now requiring age verification. And I think this fundamentally shows just the shift, that there's a lot of states that are really pushing age verification on the internet itself. There's a lot of senators that are completely on board with what the UK and the EU has been doing, and they want that for the entirety of the United States.
Yeah, again, and it's kind of interesting, right? It's like, yes, all of these... Again, how many of these people who have like complained, who promoted COSA, but also complained about globalists, and then they're literally cooperating with the globalists? Interesting. Again, it's almost as if the noticing box should be noticing, right?
It's very, very obvious. So what I'm trying to point out here is we're already seeing what these senators, what these representatives, the individual states on blue and red states want to do to the internet. It is basically already happening before COSA it was even voted on today.
I'm just going to point out, and again, this is not saying that this is not promoting anything. I'm just pointing out, right? If our founding fathers were alive today, even the ones that were full-on abolitionists, like Samuel Adams, right? Almost every single one of them would currently be in prison because they would have chimped out decades ago. Just, I'm going to put that out there, right? I'm fairly certain, even if you're going to talk about like the Reconstructionist era, like second founding, right, which is actually a betrayal of the first founding, but like the second founding of the United States, right? All of those secondary founders, which were all, by the way, abolitionists, I'm pretty sure all of them would be in prison right now because they would have booged out decades ago. I'm just pointing that out, right? I'm just pointing that out there, right? Like, again, pennies of tax on tea, right? That's all I'm saying, right?
And so I want to make it fundamentally clear there is a lot.
This is who will think of the children trap. I really think we need to start building a parallel private decentralized data sphere and that excludes most of the countries and the communists. I would agree, right? I would agree. Actually, I've been trying to promote things like the Fediverse, for example, for this decentralization point. I've also been trying to promote cryptocurrency, which again would allow us to decentralize trade and would stop us from having to deal with the thing we're going to talk about in the second video. The second should be review videos we're going to react today. I've been promoting VPNs, cryptography, fucking home genning with the AI, home labbing with regards to computers. I've been promoting all of this decentralization, right? People don't want to do it because they don't want to do it. They want someone else to do it for them, which, again, not everyone has the time in the day to do everything themselves. It's fair. But I could see a company potentially making money by helping people with their attempt to, like, again, build this parallel, substrate. Let's see. Texas has an evangelical problem, and I wish I wish it was giant monsters needing giant robots to fight them. Yes, the evangelical problem. Yes, there's a lot of problems with evangelicals. There really are. They're very mystical in their thinking, and a lot of them are dispensationalists, so they're intrinsically apocalyptic in their. Actually, no. I've never met an evangelical who wasn't an apocalypticist, actually, now thinking about it. Crypto will never become mainstream is the problem. Well, here's the thing. Why would coins become... Why would paper money actually become mainstream? There's no advantage to paper money. It means nothing. There is no value behind paper money, right? It's the exact same argument. The only reason people are saying this now is because there's a resistance to the idea, but there was a resistance to paper money, right? Automod is so weird, it really is.
The people that want this to pass. So it is very important to call your representative to let them know you don't want this to happen. But I just wanted to talk...
Yeah, the internet fight is one of the key fights, right? The internet and the market fight. Because if you lose the market and you lose the internet, well, GG, you fucking lost.
Talk about this today because obviously this is very important. There's a lot of people that were curious on where this was going to go, if the Screen Act would be turned into a law or not today. It failed, but it could return to some degree like team.
Object in hand, well, it's still just a piece of paper. It's still cloth, right? There's no intrinsic value to it. In fact, you can actually forge it, right? That's actually one of the reasons counterfeiting is a crime, is because it's actually possible to counterfeit money, which is not something you can do with gold, right? You can get fool's gold, but it's actually quite easy to test between fool's gold and real gold. If you can touch it, it is real. I mean, yes, but all of the Bitcoin are real. Like, we can even authenticate the Bitcoin with even more precision than we can a dollar, right? We even have the issue of super dollars that are actually forgeries that are indistinguishable, even to most experts, from real money, right? this defeatism thing with this cryptocurrency thing, I'm not like that's exactly what this is. This is defeatism. It's like, yes, there are issues with cryptocurrency. There was also issues with paper money, and those issues are currently happening right now as well, right? With the inflation and the secret taxation that the state is putting under you, right? Like, oh yeah, it's real, but it's also infinitely fungible, right? Need I remind everyone of the 100 million billion pengo, right? That was actually printed because of the hyperinflation in Hungary, right? Or what's currently going on in Zimbabwe, or what happened with the German mark, right? Or and what is currently happening now at a much slower rate, but it is still a ongoing rate with the American dollar, where that real thing in your hand is becoming less and less potent because it is actually nothing. It's to stand in for an abstraction. It does not actually mean anything. It is only worth as much as the supply and demand actually intersect, and the more supply there is, the less the demand is, because again, it's not as valuable anymore. This is what makes gold and silver valuable, is the fact that they are not fungible, and this is the very mechanism that Monero and Bitcoin actually replicate, because everything is already pre-recorded on a ledger everyone on the world with access to Bitcoin has access to. There is no funging the Bitcoin. Right? And that's by design. And Monero has that exact same property, except Monero actually does keep your privacy, right? If you want to actually if you want to actually safeguard privacy, then yes, gold and silver and cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin and Monero, are the ways to go, because they cannot be tracked in the same way that that a paper currency can be. But it's harder to understand. Most people issue again. What did you think was the issue with, again, paper money when it was originally proposed, right? Because originally things were done in barter, and things were done in coins made of, again, brass, gold, and silver, because these are immediately obvious, valuable things. Paper does not have the same degree of value to it, right? So what do you think was it wasn't an easy sell to tell everyone, like, hey, look, here's some paper, right? Remove the tangible thing, the tangible value out of your hand, right? You do not need to, again, actually deal with the griminess of the silver and the gold and the brass, in order to actually do value exchange, right? That's exactly what's going on. It's exactly, again, the same problem. Let's see. Well, to be fair, Zimbabwe failed because it became Zimbabwe instead of staying Rhodesia. I mean, that is fair. They did kick out all the people who actually knew how to run a country, right? Let's see. Licked it, therefore it exists. Let's see. Never black pill. Exactly. Don't black pill. If you black pill, you lose. You can. There's a lot of fights you could win, but not if you black pill on them. In my view, the biggest issue with crypto is being able to retrieve coins that were locked away and the password was lost. Again, there are real problems with cryptocurrency. That is a decent problem, right? But at the same time, there were a lot of problems with any other technological development in the first place, right? We are currently finding solutions to these problems, and yes, it's not perfect. That's why I said, again, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm saying if you are able to, again, try to divide your, what would you say, resources among a physical standard and a digital standard, right? There are real problems, but some of this is also just like bad security, right? It's like, why, like if you're constantly getting locked out of your computer, then yes, you probably should move on to gold and silver. But the problem with gold and silver is you can't do business in gold and silver, right? It is literally illegal in the United States to try and do business with gold in gold and silver, right? But it's not illegal to do it in Bitcoin or in Monero. That's the problem, right? That's why it is kind of the only option we have right now. Because if I try to go and do business, it's like, yes, I would like to buy some. I would like to buy some manga, right? And I have I try to do some exchange in a physical asset. I could get arrested, right? But if I do it in a digital asset like Bitcoin or Monero, then again, I'm not necessarily going to get arrested. It is really that simple. You have to sell the gold and silver first. Yeah, that's my exact point, right? That you can't use it as a medium of exchange. You have to trade it for a medium of exchange. It is actually illegal to use as a medium of exchange. Have you seen the gold backs? Okay, hold on. Am I about to be made a fool on Twitch? Let me check. Fractional gold, commercial product marketing as a local currency and commodity, which has seen limited use in some U.S. states and is sold, marketed in gold. See, I have no problem with this. Again, this idea of, again, using a gold or silver or even, again, bronze-backed, I said brass earlier, it was bronze, bronze-backed coinage system or, like, dollar system, that's fine by me, right? But, again, that's only limited in some states, right? Again, the whole crypto, crypto thing is more widely used. So again, even though I would actually support both, right? I would actually support that as well. The problem is again, there's a higher range of it being used for cryptocurrency than it is for that right now. I would prefer a system where both are an option. But again, like this is kind of like again missing the point of this entire thing.
Rocket in the future, but it is gone for now. But COSA is the big threat right now, which is more or less, like I said, the Online Safety Act that is within the UK. And once again, just a quick little search of what that's been doing to people within the UK will reveal exactly how dangerous it actually is.
Yep, because then they can decide what it is you get to see and you don't get to see. Based on, again, are you really going to go through the effort to actually sign in every single time with your ID, right? Or are you just going to see the slop part where it's like, okay, well, this is the unregulated part where I don't have to log into anything, so I don't have to actually see anything that might be politically important, right? Wait, if you can't trade in gold because it's illegal, how does one buy gold? Well, I mean, in that case, gold is the product, not the medium of exchange, right? And that's the thing, right? If I go and I try to, for example, do business with gold or silver to trade, for example, anime, right? Then... yeah, no, that would be illegal. But if I tried to do it, but again, if I'm buying the gold or buying the silver itself, I am exchanging it for the medium of exchange it would represent, right? So there is a bit of a loophole there. It's a stupid loophole, I'm going to be perfectly honest. But yes, I would prefer an option of mixed universal healthcare and insurance. I don't want the government touching any of my healthcare. Kryptonian currency, the real reason Superman's planet blew up. Yep. Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna look into the goldbacks though, because that's actually really, I actually really like that development. Yeah, again, if we can get back to a tri-medalist standard, then yeah, I'm totally for that. But the thing is again, I do think cryptocurrency is a good thing to develop as well, right? So it's like, I would actually prefer supporting both of them for, again, just the reason that the cryptocurrency would be, in some respects, easier to maintain anonymity, because with the gold backs, you're still potentially traceable through the golds, right? You can, if you're stupid and you're not concerned with OPSEC, still be tracked using cryptocurrency, right? Every sale on like Bitcoin is publicly traceable. It's publicly known. So it's like if your name is attached to a Bitcoin wallet, then you make a purchase, then, you know, GG if that purchase was a poor purchase. Everyone could possibly know about it. But under Monero, it's like, no, there's actually privacy, there's actually encryption for Monero, and the CIA still has a bounty on for whoever can crack Monero's encryption. Let's see. I prefer the way healthcare was when the Masons were around it. You were there when we talked about that, right? That was infuriating, wasn't it? Just how, again, healthcare used to be affordable for everyone, right? Or was it the Masons? It was just like, again, there used to be a time when we had private healthcare and everyone could afford it. I wonder what happened, right?
It is what has systematically caused all this to begin with when it comes to age verification across the internet. So I think it speaks for itself. But I think I'll leave it at...
Again, what are the odds that the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union, Australia, all of these countries decided to have apparently push through laws about internet censorship at the exact same time? Again, if you really care about national sovereignty, this is kind of the thing that you should be really fucking, concerned about, right? Damn insurance companies, from what I understand. It wasn't really the insurance companies. It was actually doctors who were sick and tired of not making enough, quote unquote, right? Well, they actually were making fine money, but because everyone could afford what they were, providing, they went to the government and were like, "Hey, we need to make certain practices illegal," right? It was literally the government got involved because things were too good. Let's see. I'm trying to support the two VTubers that the left tried to cancel, but they're a bit too hyper for me. The Chihuahua and who was the other one? I can't remember. Oh, Mia. Okay, yeah, because Mia was the one that everyone was like talking about leaked DMs, which is like what the fuck are you people on about? And then the Chihuahua one is Mia. Yes. Yeah, what they did to Mia is fucking egregious and like actually sickening, right?
That I wanted to talk about this because obviously, I felt like there's nothing else more important I could talk about today than this. So be safe, stay healthy. I love you guys. Chibi out.
Again, contact your local representative and get non-compliance tools just in case things go south. Again, VPNs, because you're probably not going to be required to verify your age from if you're in Japan. That's all I'm going to say. Who isn't the left canceling? Well, they're trying to do the woke 2.0 because there are dialectical movements. So if it didn't work the first time, then you didn't do it right the first time. You got to do it correct the second time, right? So they're gonna go harder into that. So here we go. Here's part 2. So now that we're talking about again the government trying to censor the internet, now let's move on to some fucking retards in the private sector trying to censor the internet across the world, by the way.
I cannot believe I'm even having to say this, but Yuri games are now completely getting banned within the Steam store. Banks find them completely unacceptable, and now they are debanking creators and artists for even daring to create anything with Yuri content. And
I don't get it. At first they say you must promote the big gay, and then they tell me promote the big gay is not unacceptable. Make up your mind, you fucking banks, right? Oh my god.
obviously, I don't need to say it, but I was right once again.
Yep.
I talked about this over a year ago, that the icky, problematic fiction that everybody was cheering for to be censored, canceled, and removed from Steam and other platforms has now finally shifted into some very mainstream, low-level stuff that honestly is ridiculous. Yuri is now being censored and banned, and banks, like I said, are getting involved. This means payment processors like Visa and MasterCard. This is not...
Hey, remember when Trump signed the executive order about fair banking? Yeah, fat lot of good that did, isn't it? They'll start screeching when their stuff gets censored. I mean, they will, right? And I have made this known. I do not like Yuri, but I hate that they are censoring it and canceling it. Stay out of anime, stay out of hentai. Right? Well, I have a bunch of Yuri. I'm a big Yuri fan myself. But it's like, yeah, this is kind of infuriating. He just said, Yuri, are they doing the same to the nasty yaoi? Not yet, they're not. But if the Fujoshis don't pay attention, then they will, right? And trying to get the banks to do something is very different than trying to get a company in China to do something, right? Nope, yep.
Just a simple, oh, Steam doesn't like it. This is banks, people that...
Yeah, again, let this be clear. This was not a terms of service violation on Steam. This was the banks coming in and saying, you cannot do this, right? We don't care that it is legal, right? That there's no crime being committed here. We have decided you do not get to do this. Oh, Lord, you get the Fujos involved. Just damn, right? Yeah. But they're not at that. All they can do is screech. They can't really do anything.
Control the cash flow of the world.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Again, like the payment processors, they debanked banks like Capital One. Fucking debanked Donald Trump, right? Back during when he was doing his campaigns in the past. Banks have also, for example, debanked Michael Knowles, right? Michael Knowles was complaining about how Stripe debanked him for his political, content. again, it's not just the icky fiction. These people will debank you for political reasons too. This is a power they should not have, right? These people should not have the authority to say, we are going to actually just debank. And here's the thing. Again, how do you avoid this? You can avoid this through things like, again, as you said earlier, gold banks will get where are you gonna store the gold banks, right? The gold backs, right? You still have to probably use a bank to do that, unless you're gonna do the Asian thing of like hiding all your fucking money in like a, what would you say, like a mattress. But even then, it's like in order to do transactions across a distance, you need to be able to use some kind of payment system. And that's where Visa and MasterCard come in, right? Which, by the way, Visa and MasterCard are not two different companies. They're effectively just one company pretending to be two, especially considering how often they share among each other their employees, right? Employees will literally just bounce around between the two, right? So they're not one company. They're not two companies. They're effectively one company walking as two, and being a crypto government, because they get to decide what does and does not get to actually exist, because they can decide what does and does not get to be bought and sold, even if the law says it's entirely okay that thing be bought and sold, right? This is a crypto government. You already have a crypto government that's strong enough to strong arm several countries into doing what they want to do, right? This has been a bane in the existence for Japanese companies because, again, if they want to do international business, you want to know who they have to go through, right? The Japanese payment processors aren't large enough, and they don't have the resources to actually facilitate international trade. They have to rely, on many respects, on Visa and MasterCard. But again, as I said earlier, there's a way to avoid this. Bitcoin, Monero. Even if the fucking state won't make the laws required to put these people in their place, and they do need to put these people in there is a reason historically on multiple occasions bankers have, let's just said, been put in their place, right? Yes, sometimes it was very well deserved. But the thing is like, again, cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Monero, they actually do allow you to circumvent this. Why should I give a shit, for example, if I can do business and if we can promote this, right? People using Bitcoin and people using Monero, if I can actually do my business completely without interacting with Visa or MasterCard at all, then what Visa and MasterCard decree doesn't fucking matter to me because they don't have any ability to interfere with what I'm doing, right? This is such an obvious way to circumvent an already existing problem, and yet everyone will bitch and moan about it. It's like, oh, well, you can't do this because no one's going to want to do it. No one wants to do this because they don't actually want the responsibility, right? There is an actual increased responsibility of making sure you yourself are actually secure when you actually have responsibility over your own money. The reason why people use banks, first of all, is because banks provide a layer of security, a security that they can yank away, right? And some of these middlemen, for example, PayPal, they've been criticized on many occasions because they can just cease serving you and keep the money. Right? Are you going to get your money back from the bank when they decide to debank you? Right? So what are we bitching and moaning about all this stuff for like cryptocurrency when it's like, oh yeah, what's your alternative? You want a system where it's like they can just arbitrarily decide to debank you? By the way, if Visa or MasterCard like kick you out, if they actually decide to not do business with you, good luck finding a bank that will, because these banks actually share information amongst each other about who is and who is not a good investment. All right? So your name will be flagged if you get debanked, so that other banks won't work with you. So yeah, again, we need to promote the things that actually work, and if it works, then it works, right? Let's see. I might have missed a lot. Let's see. It wasn't Visa and MasterCard again. It was Visa and MasterCard again, almost certainly, right? Almost every time it's the bank said to do that, or the bank said this, it's almost always Visa and MasterCard saying, no, we actually have to do this. Visa and MasterCard told us to do so. And let that be a thing to know. Visa and MasterCard are strong enough to basically tell banks who they can and cannot do business with. I bet it's collective shout. Yes. I'm almost certain it is. It's definitely collective shout. They're bullshit. Like, oh damn, they're pushing drawn porn onto the alphabet gang. Oh man. It is time we invented dimensional wallets. Must be making up for loose the LGBs. How to take down such a dinosaur? Let's see. Also have a drink. I think you're about to pop. Possibly, right?
Are stopping these games from now being placed on a Steam store for an adult can actually play them. Now, for those...
I fucking hate these people. I hate these people with a passion, right? These people should be exiled from polite society and, like, never actually interacted with again.
that need a little bit of context to what I talked about, how I warned people over a year ago, and also what Yuri actually is, which I don't think I need to explain, but I will for those that have no idea what it actually is. First off, Yuri is basically girls' love. It is the opposite of yaoi, which is boys' love. Basically, yaoi is usually for fujoshi, women that really, really love to see guys go at it with each other. You know, basically gay guys. And then you have Yuri, which is the opposite of that. Two girls that, you know, love each other and they have a relationship. The same thing. It's the opposite of yaoi. And
I would also like to point out that it's not even always a romantic relationship. It is just a deep relationship, right? A lot of Yuri out there has no romantic connotation at all. It is just a very deep platonic friendship. This is a common misconception in the West that I just think probably needs to be clarified right now. Yeah, it's collective shout.
Basically, there's a demographic, obviously. And it is just a very typical, like, standard formula within manga, writing, games, and stuff like that. But apparently that is now too icky and problematic to even dare to have a creator make anymore and put that on the Steam store. For instance, you can have literally no content, no explicit content, anything like that, but apparently it is still inappropriate. It cannot be actually shown on the Steam store. And
again, you must fight for your right to grill. And it's not just the government. You need to fight against these banks and these payment processors. I would argue yaoi is way more aggressively sexual. Oh, it is. It is absolutely way more sexually aggressive. Aggressively sexual, yes. Than Yuri.
The reason why this is very important is because where this all started. I would like to remind everybody. Banks and payment processors started going after stuff like, for instance, taboo tags and stuff on Steam. A really good example of this, obviously, is Grape. For instance, blackmail, hypnosis, obviously the Wincest tag, different things like that. Obviously, very problematic tags that get a lot of people to say that shouldn't even exist. However,
let's see. Well, if Australia keeps importing people from certain places in the world, we won't have to worry about collective shout much longer. I mean, there's that silver lining. To be perfectly honest, Australia can do whatever the hell it wants with itself. I genuinely do not care. And if that actually does that is a silver lining, I guess, right? I don't want it to happen, but that is a silver lining. That if the Greens take over Australia, then I don't have to deal with collective shout. Right? I don't have to deal with an Australian deciding what can and cannot be done in the United States, right? Let this be known. They have been able to, through sheer force of Karen screeching, determine that a company in the United States cannot sell American legal products in the United States. You do not have to be part of a country now to actually determine policy in that country. You don't have to go through their legal system anymore. You can just, again, bitch to the banks, and the banks can decide, yes, this legal product that you have, you're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to actually, to actually make it and supply it. But I'm in the United States. It doesn't matter. And Australia has been complaining about it, so you don't get to do it, right? So I was like, yeah, that would be a silver lining. The silver lining is we all know what would happen in that particular situation. So, yeah, and again, I don't really have any sympathy for globalists, especially when they, again, are trying to enact a global crypto government. And, yeah, that's all I got to say. Communistic shout, they are. It's always these fucking idiots with this communist impulse, right? Well, okay, I already said that part. Glad he went over what it was. I had them backwards in my mind. I thought you liked drawn gays for a moment. Okay, so I do have a couple of yaoi manga just from like back in the day when I was like, okay, I'm actually curious what this is. None of them are that None of them are horny. They're all like more like soft yaoi stuff, and it's like I don't really see the appeal. I don't throw away books, so I still have them from like way back in the day. But it's like, yeah, I do technically have yaoi in my collection, just not a lot of it. Let's see. Just popped in. What did I miss? Me almost blowing a gasket. Apparently, I got real close to glowing like the sun if I didn't. Right. Let's see. Yuri being banned by banks. Exactly. Right. Why does a bank get the authority to ban commerce? Right? How does a bank get the ability to effectively legislate in this particular way? Right? It's like they've basically decided it's like, oh yeah, like this is not a lawful way of actually conducting business. Why do they have that authority? Right? It is basically a crypto government. Again, a government that acts parallel to the official government, while at the same time not providing you the defense that the government is allegedly there for in the first place, right? And yet the actual government that is supposed to protect you and protect your, again, your life, liberty, and property won't fucking do anything about it. Okay, let's see. I'll trade Aussies for Muslims. We have send them all to Australia. Bring the Australians here. Make it a prison continent again. I wouldn't do that. Collective Shout is not the only one who does this. They actually, Australia banned certain banned quite a few anime back in the day, right? That wasn't nearly an unpopular decision as you may want to think it is, right? I would be more of the opinion of like I would rather the despots get what they asked for than to actually have to deal with more despots here, right? Let's see. What couple? Middleman got too big for their britches. Yeah. Again, there's a reason why there's been a number of revolts where bankers get their due, right? And this is one of those examples. It's for shit like this, right? They effectively act like a government, a secret government, and then it's like, hold on, you're not the king, right? What the fuck is going on here? At least back in the day, the king would just be like that one right there. He is to be exiled and his assets seized, right? Payment processors should have no say in what money that takes so long as it's legally made. That's my exact point. Because if they do have a say, then they are effectively capable of legislating from their own economic interests, right? An ideological interest. You're talking about a shadow government? Gasp. Exactly, right? Massive daily fines for debanking someone until it is reversed, or blocking anything until it's directly illegal would fix it. No, that would not fix it, because these people have more money than you could possibly imagine. I'm going to tell you exactly how you fix this. You fix this by mandating investigations into these companies, and whoever signed off on the debanking, you throw him in prison for 20 years as a minimum. That would actually solve the problem. You would see this shit stop immediately if that would happen, right? If someone was facing prison time for 20 years because, again, there's like, oh wait, the icky, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna say that icky like anime games aren't legal anymore, even though you're gonna bypass the Congress and the Senate in order to do this, right? That would stop it real fucking quick. Hard and fast punishment to make an example of. I mean. Yeah, possibly, right? Banks should never have been given any power. It's mostly why a lot of shit is effed. Yes, that's my exact point, right? They have no accountability, right? Whenever they do get in trouble for doing something like this, all they have to do is pay a fine, but it doesn't really matter because they have so much money that they can pay the fine, right? It's never actually anything that really modifies their behavior. So the way that you fix this is you actually start throwing people in the cage, right? That's the actual solution to this problem. Is like, look, these people want to act like a crypto government. Well, you're not the government, and because you're acting like the government, in an unauthoritative fashion, you get to go in the cage, right? I really hope that banning the anime games was really that important, right? Because you're not going to see your family for the next 10 years, kind of deal, right? That would stop shit really fucking quickly, right? $100 million a day fine. How much money do you think that these people actually deal with? Remember that Visa and MasterCard do almost all of the processing when it comes to payment processing, right? Now look up the GDP of the United States alone.
However, when you advocate and allow censorship of these tags that you dislike, eventually that censorship will hit the very things that you like. Ironically enough, a lot of the Yuri enjoyers, people that really love Yuri, were very much pro-censorship. Yeah, I'm not joking.
Now I'm gonna be like, again, I'm the odd one out here, right? I fucking love Yuri, but at the same time, yes, I see what everyone's talking about when they're talking about like Yuri enjoyers being pro censorship, right? I do not like censorship. Even the stuff that I actually think is distasteful, I don't like censorship. The only censorship like position I really have is maybe it should be illegal to have, for example, cartel execution footage, right? And the reason why is because the cartel execution footage functions in a very similar way as CSIM material, right? Because the thing with that is the reason why that's illegal is because every time is because, again, it being out there, it being viewed, re-victimizes a real identifiable specific victim, right? It also, again, provides metrics that encourage the people who upload the material to produce more material, right? So there's two, and there's more than reasons than that, but there's two really good reasons why it is illegal to possess CSIM material, although it wasn't always the case apparently in Denmark, right? Apparently, right? If anyone's familiar with the history of Danish law is kind of horrifying, but and yeah, the same thing goes with like cartel execution videos, right? There's a real identifiable person who has been victimized, and you are re-victimizing them basically every time. Yeah, sure, they're dead, right? But you know, the same thing. That's the same reason why, again, videos of and this is where LiveLeak was definitely, the guy who runs LiveLeak was definitely wrong about this, because it actually is illegal to possess this kind of stuff. Like videos of children being like abused. Not just that way, but in other ways, right? That material is also illegal. Why? Because again, you're re-victimizing a very specific individual. Oftentimes that video is made specifically for the purposes of selling the abuse of the individual, right? I'm not even talking about like CCTV footage. I'm talking about like things that were actually made specifically to make money off of the death or injury of another person, right? So it's like in that particular, the reasoning is nearly identical. Like, I don't think that there is a principled position to not have cartel execution footage be outlawed, to be perfectly honest. But that's not the same thing. That's not really censorship here, right? That's an actual principled position that distinguishes between documentary evidence and, again, material produced specifically out of, again, the abuse and victimization of a real identifiable human being, right? Let's see. Holy shit, I missed a lot. Chat decided to have a whole conversation while I was ranting. Let's see. We are one step away from a snow crash book scenario where we have citizenship to corporations. Yeah, that would definitely be time to boog, in my opinion. Pay no attention to me. This statement is meaningless. Black, then white are. All I see is my infancy. Oh, Tool. It's, shit, is it 46 and 2? No, wait, it's Laterellus. It's Laterellus. Okay, also good evening to you, good sir. Good evening, Jimmy Dean. I like Yuri, I just don't go looking for it actively. Dropping in to give you a like. Thank you, Gleeman. Let's see. What is effectively is illegal and what is legal is ineffective in changing the banking system. Well, it seems like there is there's an implicit solution there, right? Let's see. Lol, a solution, redeploy the flock cameras to monitor everyone in the banks, and it's a public stream. Ooh, that would be really interesting. Red and yellow then came to be reaching out to me, lets me see. Let's see. It's not complicated, yeah. There is a short list of things that should be censored, a very short list. I agree, right? Again, like CSIM and like, again, terrorist or cartel execution videos, for the same reason, because there's an identical reasoning for why they should be censored. But again, those actually have real understandable, again, there's a good argument you can make for this, right? This never touches reality. There is no identifiable specific human being in here. This is all in the abstract. Like, this is nothing here is actually, again, real. So this is completely ridiculous. Lateralis low, spiral out, brother. Yeah, it was. You got me switching gears for a moment. I was like, hold on. I know the song. Which one is it? Is it this one? Yeah. I got the wrong song originally. I think I actually have the entire Tool discography. I might have to double check because I'm actually, you know what? I might be missing the last one. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Snuff is another one. Well, I mean, to be fair, the cartel execution videos is like the prime example of Snuff, right? But that's the thing. It's like Snuff isn't just someone died on camera. It would be a thing of like, again, because that could be documentary evidence, right? Again, like, but it would be something that's like this was made specifically for the purpose of capitalizing on someone's death.
Most of the people that especially love it on platforms like Reddit and Twitter, they are very pro-censorship of icky fiction. But now their icky fiction is being targeted. It is declared icky fiction because, I mean...
And this is the prime fucking example of why I keep telling people, do not make weapons that you know will eventually get into the hands of your enemies. Now, granted, these people didn't know this because their metaphysic is speculative, right? Their metaphysic is eschatological. It's oriented teleologically, so by function towards the end of history. And the problem with that is that if you think that history marches forward in a linear path towards a specific end, right, a specific purpose, then you don't really consider that your enemies will eventually get power and then possibly use the very things you put in place to fuck you, right? And that is exactly what's going on here, right? It's like, yeah, we're gonna march forward to our vision of history. The people they don't like got into power, and now the thing they love is going to be destroyed by the things that they themselves helped put into power, right? And the right is doing this exact same thing with the fucking, again, even playing along with the COSA bill that we were talking about earlier, right? They will absolutely use these systems to fuck you. So absolutely do not cooperate with people with this. In fact, you should fight like hell to make sure that these systems that can be abused in these ways are not set up in the first place, right? Because they will be co-opted by people who do not like you, and they will use it to their advantage to screw you.
Banks have to get rid of it. So yeah, we are now once again in the slippery slope. You know that meme of the rock that continues to kind of tumble on and crush more and more people, and eventually someone's like, huh, what's going on? Like, why aren't you standing up for me? And you see the person behind him flatten to the ground thanks to the boulder. And that's basically what's happening. Everybody that tried to advocate and say that this was going to happen either got slandered, censored, buzzword, called a Nazi, called a freak, called a weirdo, called a pedo, anything basically under the sun to get them to shut up. And now, obviously, those very people that tried to do that are now facing the consequences. Now, because I am a man that likes to keep my virtues and what I believe in strictly intact, I still think it's incredibly wrong for Yuri to be censored. Because to be blunt here, I actually like Yuri. I do. I like Yuri games. I like Yuri stories. Hell, I really sought out a lot of Yuri anime and stuff when I was really getting into anime. So I'm just gonna be blunt. I've seen this. It also, once again, another one of my favorite tags is getting hit. It's
Yep. And again, not all Yuri is even sexual, right? There's plenty of non-sexual Yuri out there, and that's getting hit too, right? Because again, there's no intention for distinction, right? It's just an exercise of raw power, all right?
Completely unacceptable. And so, getting a little bit...
To be fair, Christian teachings say that thoughts are sins. The bankers are trying to make them crimes. Think it's Karens. Well, communism is derived from Christian principles. Does not say communism is Christian, but it is very clearly derived from Christian principles, right? Like the whole purpose, again, the whole idea of there being some kind of like, again, end of history, right? Some end state that after man has gone through the long and arduous process of self-abnegation, right? Through, will eventually reach this era, this time, right? This time, a moment in history where, again, original sin, in this case property, right, will be obliterated, and man will enter into a perfected state, not as an individual, right, even though individuals may exist, but as a collective in some sense, right, as a mystical body. That is a class, by the way, right? So just as the church is a mystical body, the class is a mystical body. So yes, there are a number of parallels between communism and between Christianity, because it turns out, yeah, a lot of it does actually come from abuse of Christian ideas. It is that simple, right? And that's actually why Christianity has such a hard time fighting against a lot of this stuff, right? Is that, again, first of all, communism is very subversive, right? It finds its way into any system and it can subvert it for the most part, right? What do you think liberation theology is? It's a subversion of like Catholic and like Protestant doctrines, right? To a Marxist lens. And anyone who tells you it's not does not know what they're talking about. And that's part of the ruthless criticism of all that exists, right? But even like the class at the end of history functions like a divine judge, right? Like a god man, although to be fair, that god man is all of mankind collectively as a species being, right? So yeah, there have been people who pointed out that communism is kind of a Christian heresy. That is like, well, not entirely. It is largely derived from it does have a lot derived from, for example, Kabbalah, from Hermeticism, from Gnosticism, but you have to remember that Marx's teacher was a Hermeticist pretending to be a Lutheran. He tried to synthesize Lutheranism with Hermeticism, a Christian religion with a Gnostic religion, and that is why the Christian influences are there. Let's see. Split the LGBT win. The productive gays will have to choose to separate from their anti-productive crabby peers. They already have. A lot of people have already separated from the LGBT community despite being lesbian, gay, bisexual, or trans, right? And it's precisely because of that, right? They're productive members of society instead of part of the parasite class. If they ever want to make and play good games ever again, exactly. You mean specifically about games? Yes, I would agree. No identitarian politics in gaming. That's fucking ridiculous. I said don't get distracted, silly lol. Well done, though. When you actually have more time available, I'd love to see your opinion on the difference in philosophy/writing between Sleep Token versus Tool. I'll have to actually listen to Sleep Token. I have not gotten there yet, so I'll start listening to Sleep Token, and I'll see what I can get there. YTS DMCA. Yes, like YouTube's DMCA. Let's see. Communism does not work with free will. Of course not. But then again, neither does Calvinism, right? Let's see. We know this isn't about morality after all. They didn't go after Yowie or NTR. You misunderstand what morality is to these people, right? It is consistent with their moral ethics, right? Because the thing is it's about, again, how they get to the end goal. They are ultimately consequentialists. Since the end of history is the purpose of history, anything done in pursuit of the end is ultimately justified, right? Even if that seems like it's contradictory in the here and now, it is still within their morals to do things that seem contradictory, so long as they believe it actually forwards their eschatological ends. Hello, Penny. Hello, I am here for a bit, giving you a like to. Thank you. You offer in-depth takes on philosophy and how it's applied to music. I would like you to value your input someday. Don't be distracted by the sausage vendor talking about music. Cutting the TQ plus. It's not even the T. It's not even the T. This is the mistake people get. It's the Q. The Q. The Q is the problem here. Because here's the thing. It is ideological to have LGBT because there's no real commonality between LGB with the T, because LGB refer to who someone is sexually attracted to, and the T refers to, again, your concept of your self-conception of your quote-unquote gender, let's be fair, your spirit and your body, right? Your ghost and your machine. The Q is different. The Q is ultimately ideological, because you can explain the T through actual medical science, through actual like psychology, right? There's a reason we have the description of gender dysphoria, right? That's real. But it's the Q that's the problem here, because Q is defined in queer theoretic literature as an identity without an essence. That's the problem, right? The entire thing with queer theory, and that's what the Q stands for, is queer means an identity without an essence, i.e. something absolutely anti-normative, right? And in this particular case, when you actually read queer theoretic literature, you're going to see that they have this class dynamic like in communism, right? We have the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. You can reconstruct most of queer theory by just switching out these two key terms. Switch out proletariat with queer, and then bourgeoisie with heteronormative. Drop the hetero part out. That's an obfuscation. Just like these people use LGB and T as human shields for their Mott and Bailey tactics, that hetero part is part of the Mott and Bailey. Ignore that part. It is normative versus queer. In queer, remember, olden times means strange because it's an anti-normative ideology, right? It is an intrinsically acidic ideology because the entire point is transgression. Right. This is why you'll see in queer theoretic literature, such as drag pedagogy, which I read part of in one of the streams, right, has things about, for example, again, leaving a trail of glitter in the carpet of the soul of children that will never come out. Right. Yeah. Paper, co-written with my, person named Little Miss Hot Mess. Right. So, yeah. It's the Q that's really the problem, because the Q is the motivating factor here. The Q is the thing that actually binds the whole thing together. And the Q is the reason you get things like the murdering missing indigenous women collapsed in this too. Because it's not actually about sex or gender. It is about normative ethics entirely. Let's see. Okay. Oh my God. Here we go. Let's see. Happening in IRL. Pretty hard, but I'm having fun online now. Well, I hope it gets better, Penny. Reclaiming a slur. Many such cases, right? Hello, Imperial Answer. To be fair, LGB is a matter of who you prefer in terms of intimacy, while QT is a matter of identity. Those two things arguably cannot reconcile in the long run. I agree, right? And it's that ultimate destabilization that is part of the point. Buck proves the T doesn't like the allies. Let's see. LGBT has better sounding title. I mean, it's not the entire alphabet, which is what they've been aiming for, right? Normal versus weird, basically. Let's see. The T can be explained as this person has this particular set of ideas and feelings without any reference to anything other than feelings, but Q is just a mystery. Let's see. Reminds me of a sandwich, which bacon, lettuce, and tomatoes. What would that be? The G? Oh, that's a good question. I can't really think of what food would be a G. When I first heard about LGBT, I thought it was a sandwich. Okay, that's funny.
More detail into this, the actual creators, the developers, announced what's going on and gave us some insight into what's actually happening here. So they basically talk about how, Steam revenue sales were completely rejected by a bank. And then if you go down, they explain exactly what happened, the background behind it. So recently, in connection with the buzz around money laundering and the screening of overseas remittance, Shinsei Bank requested submission of documents, which I did submit. This story is sounding like the exact same thing I've been covering for literally 8 months now. For some reason, a lot of these Japanese banks within Japan are now listening to Western banks and different Western ideologies.
Because, again, more than half of the cards in Japan operate under Visa. So, again, Visa has the power to just turn off processing across Japan for a lot of people, including businesses. So, again, Japan cannot fight this because, again, Japan doesn't have the infrastructure for this payment processing in the first place. Now, I personally think that this should result, I think in a just world, Visa and MasterCard would lose all their patents, and then people would be able to start payment processors on their own, right? But that's just me.
To censor certain creators within Japan, it has become a systematic repeating type of pattern that we have seen over and over now lately when it comes to games and artists within Japan. But anyways, Shinsei Bank determined that there were sales of adult Yuri content and refused to handle it. Even after the publisher transferred sales excluding the adult content portion through Japan Post Bank, it went through screening, document submission, refusal. I don't understand the meaning of this. To be continued. And so basically they opened up another bank and all that, trying to get all this process. They even censored their game. They followed regulations of what the bank wanted them to do, and even then that was not enough. This gets back into the main point. When you advocate and allow yourself to basically bend over and get the censorship of the law up you, basically...
Wait, okay, hold on. I thought he said that this was like worldwide, right? He said that this was like a worldwide ban that they're doing, right? But it was just a Japanese, so it was a Japanese bank doing the rejection here. Well, I guess if it's being rejected here, there's also a flex by Visa and MasterCard saying it's like, hey, we can catch you anywhere that we want, right? Because we basically control payment processing across the world for many respects.
Basically, it's going to continue getting worse. It will continue to get worse because it's never enough. Censorship is never enough for these people. And
of course not, because either the authority to determine what you do lies within you or it lies within some external authority. The root cannot be the root cannot be synergistic. It does not flow both ways, right? Ontologically speaking, either your life belongs to yourself, and therefore you can actually act in accordance with your reason and your will, or your life belongs to something external to you, and you do not get to make these decisions. There is no middle ground between these two positions, right? And ultimately speaking, again, the censor here does not believe that ultimately you own yourself. They believe that in a very real sense, they own you, right? Which is why they get the right to censor you. And so, yeah, it will never be enough. This is why you don't trust these people. On a metaphysical level, these people do not have a capacity to actually have a stopping mechanism in their own worldview. Because again, either the authority to make decisions comes from within or it comes from without. If it comes from without, then you have to ask permission before you do something. If it comes from within, then you do not have to ask permissions. You can simply do things, right? Oh, hey, there's that Kircher quote, right? You can just do things, right? Okay, let's see. In Cyberpunk, it mentions that America fell apart amid identitarian, sectarian violence and fragmentation. I foresee that happening in the LGBTQ movement at some point. Well, that's going to happen across the entire Marxist movement at some point, because especially their identitarian logic under intersectionality is going to cause this friction. Eventually, the workers of the world aren't going to be able to unite, right? When your proletarian now consists of things like, again, Palestinians and, gays, there's going to be a bit of a break here, right? Someone's not going to win this. The workers of the world are not going to unite for very long. I thought the LGBT was an acronym for let's get beer and tacos. Ooh. You can have the beer, but I'll definitely take a taco, right? Which I was all for. Lettuce, tomato, or turkey, and bacon or garlic bread. Garlic bread. Ooh, that sounds really good. Hello, Philip, and everyone. Hello, just arrived. Glad to see you, man. Let's see. I keep thinking that the who start of this turning society upside down started with the atheist movement. It's deeper than that, because here's the thing: atheism doesn't actually lead to places people think it does. Almost every time I've seen atheism lead somewhere, it's not the atheism itself that leads them there. It's an underlying metaphysical presupposition which someone can actually have being religious as well, right? Again, Marxism is ultimately an outgrowth of a Hermetic religion, i.e. Hegelianism, right? Marx was a left Hegelian. All he did was he inverted the metaphysic from being absolute idealism into dialectical materialism, and then dialectical materialism had all these offshoots from Marxism, including a return to almost absolute idealism with queer theory, right? And that's ultimately a religious worldview, not a secular worldview. It would be really hard to say it's like, yes, Marxism is a religion, is not a religion when they have a almost essentially divine judge at the end of history, which is the collective of all mankind united into a single species being that then, judges all that comes before it, right? Marx, again, a lot of these groups are not atheistic. They are absolutely religious. They pretend to be atheistic. Let's see. For something so essential to just living in the modern age, I'd hope the same. Exactly, right? Hello, Play. Choose garlic bread over guacamole. Well, the followers of the 7th century warlord always eat the commies in the end. Yeah, well, it goes the other way too. If the commies win and the Muslims aren't as powerful, the commies will absolutely put them under a boot. Just look at what happened in China. I heard fascism also draws upon Hegel's work. Fascism is the most faithful of the World War II ideologies to Hegel's work. Yes, because in Hegel's worldview, the state is the agent of God in history. fascism is a little different, because in fascism, the collective of all mankind, which is the definition of the state under Giovanni Gentile's formulation, is actually God himself. Because under actual idealism, the world is actually the interplay of the different minds of all mankind together. So it's like a, if you will, think about it like as an interface by which the mind actually interacts with each other, right? So in fascism, the state is agent and God in society at the same time. Let's see. Wait, hold on. The Borg at the end of history, kind of, though I'm not sure Hegel would have liked communism. Oh, he would not have. Given I think Hegel was religious and would have rejected the notion of the state as a tool of the bourgeoisie and class oppression. Yeah, Hegel wouldn't have liked communism, but Marx is still a left Hegelian. When he died, there was a break between the left and the right Hegelians, and the right Hegelians become people like George W. Bush. The left Hegelians become people like, again, Karl Marx, Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, fuck it, Adolf Hitler, right? All these groups, because Hitler was also a Hegelian, because, the thing is like National Socialism. If you read National Socialism is basically the German pagan version of communism, right? It's just race communism. You can recreate almost the entire thing again by taking that class conflict, switch out bourgeoisie with Jew, and switch out proletariat with Aryan, with the nested assumptions from the racial perspective, and boom, you basically reconstructed all of National Socialism, right? It really, their hatred is the fucking narcissism of small differences. Let's see. Based Camp with Malcolm and Simone just recently dropped another religion video that makes a lot of references to the religion they created. Atheism with extra steps, I guess. Right? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of creating your own religion for no reason, right? Or for political reasons. That it's not like that hasn't ever gone horribly wrong, right? The first thing that comes to mind is like the cult of reason in France, right? Yeah, that didn't go horribly wrong. That didn't come through. I thought it was gold. Oh, well, let's see. I think the Soviet Union crushed several instances of Islamic nationalism and resistance to Moscow's wishes at various points in the early history. It did. I think the movements operate on the surface level and spread, but only if the roots are strong and deep. Sometimes, right? Let's see. Hegel wouldn't like the monster he created. Many such cases, right?
And more or less what they're trying to do is create a chilling effect where you just don't even make the content anymore. And that's to get worse, because it's never...
Okay, so I forgot. I hit the wrong button. I tried to hit K, and I hit, which is pause, and I accidentally hit J, which is 10 seconds back. So, hold on. Let me fix this. But no, he's right. This is a chilling effect. Even if this is... The whole point of this is I don't have to bring the entirety of my boot down on your neck. All I have to do is press you just a little bit to show that I can and will do this at all. And I am willing to do it the entire way. This is just your warning that I can, but I don't have to if you will cooperate. This is them strong-arming Steam, to create global policy.
In effect, where you just don't even make the content anymore. And that's what's going to happen. So, yeah, for those that used to always scream at me, saying, Chibi, you're stupid. You're defending freaky stuff. Why are you defending freaky stuff?
It turns out if you only defend the stuff that you like, then the stuff that you like will itself come under fire, and you will have no ground to stand on, right? Just...
There you go. Here you go. Because
you don't even have to morally like the things, right? I've defended things I morally dislike quite often, right? Like, I'm not a big fan of Riona, for example, but, like, I'll still defend people's right to make Riona.
Now your Yuri is getting affected, and don't worry, eventually it'll be something else that's even lower tier than this. So, take it as you will. I will leave it at that, though. I hope this gets corrected, but I doubt it will, because obviously we've seen this story now. This is like the 6th or 7th.
Because the freaky stuff is the mot they have to cross before they reach the north. Yes, exactly.
Story.
These raiders don't want to...
That's happened this year with something very similar. But this is one of the very few times we've had just such transparency on exactly what's happening here, and this to be just so ridiculous. But be safe, stay healthy, subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content. Chibi out.
Yeah, I should have reacted to this a while ago, and basically he's just totally... Once again, Chibi turns out to be almost totally right. when he's talking about these things, and he's proven right over and over again. But yeah, I've always loved the quote, "I disagree with you, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it." Yeah, that's entire, again, like, first of all, this, again, is another, this doesn't really work under democracy, because as I've explained beforehand, democracy necessarily leads to bad places because it, places the primacy of consciousness above the primacy of reality. But, I digress. Also, because it's like when you just let people say certain things, they'll say things that will eventually, it will give them enough rope to hang themselves, right? It's like you let the Islamic extremist say the extremist stuff, that way he hangs his own movement, right? At least in a sane society. I'm going to DM you the line so you get a laugh. Okay. So my headphones are telling me that I'm almost out of battery for some reason. I thought I charged this thing. Oh, wait. Fuck, I forgot to cut that. Okay, so I'm gonna have to just cut that last section out of the recording. So my headphones are screaming at me that I forgot to charge the battery because sometimes it just happens, right? So I am going to comment on this because the title. Hold on. So the title of the stream is Bouncy. So might as well comment on a video that justifies the title, the stream title, right? But yeah. I really wanted to talk about the Islam thing. I really wanted to read this, but it turns out my own ineptitude has gotten in my way again. So let me start recording. Let's see. To be honest, I think this is a distraction issue. It matters for those it affects, but it's good at distracting from more important matters, at least for them anyway. Well, here's the thing. You can also be tuned into multiple things at one time, right? Like, there are obviously other things going on other than the censorship issue, but if they censor the internet, right? If they actually are able to censor the internet, then your ability to actually mobilize and actually coordinate against these people is extremely reduced. On the same time, if they can reduce who can actually do business with you, you've effectively lost. Right? So these are not niche issues. These are really important issues. And they seem niche because they're not inside most people's area of influence, but they're doing this for a reason, right? If they didn't think that they could get something out of this, they wouldn't be doing this. Let's see. Interestingly, I think Germany may have learned from democracy leading to issues to some extent. They have a law that lets them take action against anything that threatens the democracy. Well, that's the problem. The problem is that, again, the democracy doesn't work in the first place. And we know this because you need a subroutine to stop the democracy from failing in the first place, right? It can't hold itself under its own first principles. Whatever right-wing, left-wing, Islamic, etc. Yeah, fair enough. The threat can come from anywhere. I think that they even used it in the past against Islamic organizations. That is a good thing if they're doing that. Okay, let me see this first. Let's see. I thought LGBT was an acronym for let's get beer and talk. Oh. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so before my headphones run out of power, let's look at some. Let's look at this. Okay, so right now we're going to react to Cinder Explains her most viral clip. Now, I'm going to be honest. Back when the Cinder situation initially happened, I didn't pay attention to it because I thought this was just regular. I thought it was just regular VTuber drama, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. Until I was actually told about some of the stuff that happened in the background, and then I actually started paying attention. And I initially thought, okay, look, this is kind of stupid, but it's also completely out of proportion. There's no reason to justify what's going on here. This could have all been done behind the scenes. And then some actual investigative reporting happened, from like Mizu Tamari, Elfire Ava, Mama Oko, not these fake ass investigative journalists like False ID and More Kazahana and all these other fucking people, right? And actual people with actual integrity and investigative skills went in there and actually did deep analyses of what actually happened. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm actually fully on Cinder's side. This is absolutely beyond the pale and should not have happened. And then the dossier came out, the 10,000-page dossier. And it was like, I was fucking vindicated. Muujin fucking like skim reading. I'm like, that's not reading. You can skim a text and then like read it out loud and not know a damn thing what happened in the thing. That's not reading. Reading is actually interrogating the goddamn text, right? Let's see. I like Cinder's Bouncy. Oh, it is. She does have good Bouncy, but here we go. Before my headphones run out of power, right?
I found the concept that originated your jiggle physics clip. Apparently, physics broke from the moment you stepped on stage.
I can.
To be fair, all the people who are like, no, like, real women aren't actually that bouncy. It's like, there's a reason why there's a certain degree of bounce. I mean, yeah, sure, you can exaggerate it, right? But there's a reason why there's a bounce given in like these designs, and it's because, well, it turns out that yes, they are. Okay, Cabot and me literally said the same thing at the same time. God damn. Right? And it's like, I'm convinced that, again, a lot of this stuff is the hatred of women by other women, to be perfectly honest, right? It's like, why, like oh, they're too bouncy, it's unrealistic. It's like, well, here's the thing, women like unrealistic depictions of women as well, right? You know, because it turns out women like looking at women. Right? They like, again, not necessarily for the same reason that men do, right? I guess some of them do. Some of them like sexy women because the lesbian part, right? But most women who like looking at other women just like looking at pretty things, right? That's literally it, right? And it's the same thing. So I was like, I'm convinced that a large part of the people who bitch and moan about this stuff is actually just women who are jealous of other women and so want to crab bucket and drag people down, right? It's pretty much, it pretty much is, as Ben Franklin even admitted, pure direct democracy is rarely tried and fails badly every time. Yes, because it commits, initially, it on the face of it commits a transgression against reality by, again, reifying or making real something that is completely abstract, which is, again, the collective. Because the collective just does not exist in any real sense, right? Yeah, it's a useful thing we use to rationalize the world around us and understand the world around us, but it doesn't actually exist in the same way you or I actually exist, right? I'm physically instantiated. I have a very specific identity. These collectives do not actually have that issue, right? Like, I can delete, in theory, right? Create an endling for the entire human population, right? In theory, like, you could kill every single person on Earth, and one person is left, and that person can survive for quite a while on their own. It wouldn't be a very good existence. But that shows the individual is not dependent on his existence through the collective. On the other hand, if I were to exterminate all individuals, there is no collective, right? It's because the collective is an emergent phenomenon. It is not foundational. It is the individual which is foundational in being. And democracy, by placing, again, the people, TM, as the root of power, inverts the nature of, again, decision-making and the nature of reality itself. It places an idea as higher than the concrete reality. So there's a reason for that. What an interesting conversation to have in the fucking Cinder commentary of all things, right? Women versus women, yes. Those who badmouth women or other women and wannabe women, yes. Let's see, democracy like communism can only work on small scale. Let's see, at the point where you have to look at to the other people in the eye and say, yes, I want to harm you. Yeah, okay, so let's get into the bouncy again before my headphones lose power.
Explain.
I almost forgot that you were singing.
Well, I wasn't singing in that clip. Listen.
Ah, come on.
How is this clip resurfacing? Oh my god, it was like...
Because it's a good clip. It's a very entertaining clip, right? Women bad, please clap. Oh my god. Right? But it's literally women saying women bad at that point.
3 years ago.
Again, like, yes, it turns out women actually are that bouncy, right? Just...
Don't put it in chat! Anyway. This wasn't when I was singing, okay? This was after I was done with my set, okay? At the concert. And then everybody backstage was like, go back out there and take a picture with the audience, with the crowd. I said, that's a great idea. So I run back out there, I crouch down, Jeremy's there taking pictures, and then, wait, did Jeremy take the, I could have sworn he did. Maybe it was somebody else taking a picture? Because Jeremy was filming, okay? Jeremy was just filming because he was like, this is cute. Like, I'll take a cute little video for her, right? From the stage perspective to see all the Power Pups in the audience.
Come to think of it, I believe it was the Athenians who famously were wary of demagogues. I mean, Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it was also the Athenians who voted, Socrates to kill himself.
So he's filming. And I crouch down, and I pose with the audience and my power pups, and we take a cute picture, and then I stand up.
Man, the secondary motion physics engines have gotten really good lately. Well, I mean, the thing is, the bounciness is very obvious, so it's really easy to explain from a physics perspective, right? There is so much mass in in the booba. There is a lot more mass in the rest of the woman, right? So when the rest of the woman moves, that's a lot of momentum again. So it's like it's basic inertia, right? It is basic inertia, and again the law of conservation of momentum. Jiggle physics are real. Stop taking it out of our video games. Yes. Oh my god. These people want to fucking make video games where it's like, yes, you can examine how this horse's sack shrinks and responds to the cold. It's like, I don't fucking care. Why would I care about this? I don't give a shit about this engine. Like, what the fuck? Why? Why would I care about this? I don't care about every fucking blade of grass in the state. I want the game to work, right? But then at the same time, they won't put the realistic jiggle physics, except for I guess in that one scene where the maid is scrubbing the floor, and it's like, okay, I can appreciate the realistic physics here. Where the fuck is the rest of the game, right? Bouncy isn't worse than Cinevere or Kirsha. I mean, and again, if the bouncy issue wasn't a thing, then there would not be a reason for sports bras. The whole fucking point of sports bras is to keep the girlies in place, right? So you don't hurt yourself, right? This is very basic stuff. I hate people. Oh my god, I hate these fucking idealistic prudes. They don't actually touch the concrete. They live in their fucking idealistic gas. And I can say this because I used to be one of these people. Let's see. Energy must go somewhere. Exactly. Leave the poor jiggle physics alone. Yes. They are putting jiggle physics back in Fortnite. Oh. God bless, right?
Okay, I stand up. I start walking off stage. This is what's happening in the clip. I start walking off stage, and I was like, oh, it'd be cute if I send them off with a little tail wag, because, I'm walking away from them, so they just see my backside. So let me wag my tail and be all cute. And then I was like, hee, and then I ran off stage after that. I was not thinking about how my body fat would react.
Well, it's a good distribution of body fat, let's be fair, right? Modern Rockstar games are pretty pretentious and boring, I would agree.
To what that would look like from the front. And, yeah. I was like, oh, this will be a funny tweet. Send tweet. You mean the twins?
I do still like the Pyro Pup design. And I will say, again, since I was talking about the Cinder drama thing and how I was on the Cinder side almost from the get-go as soon as I started getting even remotely knowledgeable about what was going on. That whole Cinder drama made me like Cinder as a creator way more. I had no fucking idea really about her at all until then. And I was like, damn. She's actually, unironically, a better musician than most of the people who were crashing out about her. What the fuck? Unironically, just a better content creator than the people who were fucking going after her. No wonder they're going after her. Didn't they remove jiggle physics from Genshin Impact or something? I'm going to be perfectly honest. I actually don't play the Chinese spyware game. I genuinely wouldn't know. I do know that they've had an issue with again, China saying it's yes, we were limiting the booba and the booty, right? So then they had to get more creative, and that's where we got Seed from Zenless Zone Zero with, honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, some of the best feet animation I have ever seen. I don't even like feet. It was oh my god, it's disgusting. But it's at the same time, it's I can kind of respect the commitment to the bit. This is unironically some of the best animated feet I've ever actually seen. They put some real fucking work into this. These people are still freaks, but damn. They actually put some work into this. I'm actually impressed.
Body fat is a crazy term. That's what it is! Oh Firing the calcium cannons!
Oh my god, that's so funny. Holy shit.
Okay.
They nerfed the Ice Nun hard. Let's see. The one just censored was Brown Dust 2. Oh, god damn it.
I remember Jeremy showing me that video and he was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, man, that's just fucking hilarious. And now it's my legacy, I suppose.
I get that, but even before the clip, as you entered the stage for singing Convergence of Sin, the physics were already broken. The clip just brought it to center stage. The twins bouncing were all over the singing.
You know what I will say?
So I guess the crowd did get to enjoy the physics engine of reality, right? Oh my goodness. It's just, oh my god, it's just, I hate these fucking idealistic prudes. They don't live in the real world, and it's just so fucking annoying that we have to deal with these people. Oh my god. It's like, look, if it wasn't this bouncy, why the fuck do sports brawls exist, right? If bounce wasn't a real issue, sports brawls wouldn't fucking exist. All hail physics, right?
So Jeremy, he's one of my friends who's been like alongside just a lot of production that I've been a part of, and like opportunities.
That push-up brawl working hard, yes.
He's kind of
very
like
much so.
super powered hero, like a superhero assistant. Is what he is. He's great. I can vouch for the double-sided tape that held my top up the whole time.
Tape. Okay, I mean, the tape's doing some work.
Yeah. He's my Jarvis. He's literally my Jeremy. Kampuda. Yeah. But he's this funny man who was on stage filming a cute shot for me for my memories, and it was a memory, all right.
It's a memory, all right. Yeah, fair enough. It activated a lot of neurons in a lot of people, let's be fair. A lot of cosplayer use double-sided tape. I mean, I know, it's just like, yeah, you know what, fair enough. I just didn't think about it at the time. I was like, huh, yeah, that tape's doing some work. Sports brawls cannot contain this level of physics. Yeah, the physics engine was being put to, to some test.
Oh, my physics? He doesn't have that kind of power.
I don't know what the fuck she's doing here, but again, it is entertaining, right? It is that silly behavior that activates the neurons in a lot of guys. Let's see, there goes your sports brawl. Can't handle that. You need a binder. The ray tracing kept up, though. It did, right? The fire pup familiar on her arm reminds me of how Skew-chan has that purple squid monster on her shoulder. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I do like how, like, oftentimes a lot of these VTubers will actually have their, like, mascot. They'll just either be holding it or it'll be on them at some point. Except for Doki Bird, because Doki Bird actually just becomes her mascot, right? She's just a potato in a skin suit. I mean, a tomato, not a potato. Yeah, long story short, she is a significantly, like, unironically, if you actually go listen to her music is actually just, like, unironically better musically and lyrically than Bao's, right? So, just gonna put that last shot in there because apparently Bao is no longer a VTuber, and I'm like, finally, I don't have to be annoyed with this person anymore. They'll be off my feed, finally, right? Let's see. Kirsha becomes her mascot. Yes, exactly, right? She becomes the Korsha. Do not the Korsha. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna try to. Okay, so that'll. God damn. Let me know what y'all thought in the comments. Let's see. Yeah, VTubers with mascots being held embraces the maternal aspect we secretly crave. I mean, fair. I never understood. Oh, actually, I do understand this subversion, but it was like the whole thing with like the yes, you like it was like yes, like the demonization of men being into maternal women. It's like, but they should be into maternal women because presumably they want to have a woman who will be a good mother to their children. This is kind of retarded. This is also why it's like I can't take Freud very seriously, right? It's like, yes, again, it's like the whole fixation on the maternal. It's like, yeah, it's almost as if that's actually a reasonable thing to actually be fixated on. Like, if you, as a man, a woman who might make a good mother, because presumably you want a family that will eventually have children, right? Oh my god. VTuber VTuber mascot is is the stand-in for the chat. Yes. Again, like, all right. Like, to anyone watching on YouTube, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Okay, so because again I have a limited time on this, I am going to try to find someone to raid. So let me check to see if there's anyone on. Last time I tried to raid someone, it was such a pain in the ass because no one was fucking on. At least on YouTube. It's like, I tried to raid people on YouTube, and it just would not work. Because every time I was like, oh yeah, this person's on. Okay, I can raid this person. Oh no, wait, you have to actually ask them permission to raid them in the first place. I was like, what the hell is going on here? It's like, I've been raided by some of these people, and I'm like, hey, what is going on here? I know that's not how my setup is set up. Okay, let me see here. Go to customization. Go down here. Okay, it's on redirect. Okay. Now I'm trying to be mindful this time. You know, as I do this each time, that way I get it into my noodler how to do this, right? Okay, so let me put this on. I'm gonna try to see who's on and available to raid. Hello, Chris Gaming 58. Kind of got here at the very end of the stream, right? Yeah, shortest stream, right? 2 hours and 5 minutes. Good night, Cabot. DJ Arkham is on. All right, I'll give it a shot.
I rose earth fast, forged in the storm, wrath alone. No crumbling, I know the child of seas, but flame-born kin of the Tantor's beast. The doomsman spoke in the witch words of fire. Let judgment descend from the son of the pyre. Above the sky, folk, Cordulus pale, clothed in thunder where old light fails. The windbreaker reigns with his thousand-fold eyes. He drinks of 6 worlds and devours their skies. But the holy foe wept from the hush of the dome and summoned me forth from the blood-muddied low. Sky Father, Heaven Lord Bloom, serpent of bronze, I climb by your mercy through fire and fronds. No thunder shall echo from lips steeped in lies. No crown for the cruel, no praise for the wise. By frost fang and fire fang, by storm serpent's cry, I march to the mountain where gods go to die. Through foul-choked gulches and ghost-breathing trees, I walked where the barrel-lee howls on the breeze. The hungry ghost gods whisper from roots slick with red, but I bore the charge of the long-burning dead. Up the world pillars back, through void breath and height, I climbed toward the vault of the Thunder Lord's light. His palace was frost forged, a citadel lie, and he smiled salacious with his star-eyed sky. 100-hand arrows wreathed in super-pitch smoke to bind me in riddles and chains and in yoke. But I drew my blade like the septentrion, a light adamantine sword of the holy folks' right. Oh, Sky Father, Heaven Lord Bloom, serpent of bronze, I climb by your mercy through fire and fronds. No thunder shall echo from lips steeped in lies. No crown for the cruel, no praise for the wise. By frost fang and fire fang, by storm serpent's cry, I march to the mountain where gods go to die. He ruled over beastmen and men bound in chain, hellfolk and hungry ones drowned in their bane. He shattered all vows for a throne built on flame, a wet breaker clothed in the old heaven's name. But the rainbow serpent of bronze stirred the silence with fire, and a whisper was carved through the winds like a lyre. Strike, my chosen, while the mountain bleeds, for my word is the root and your blade is the seed. So I fell on his fury with flame and despair, and split the sky king from his thousand-eyed stare. His hurt pan broke on the thunderless stone, and 6 worlds wailed with the god overthrown. The holy folk watched in the still smoking air. The tyrant was dust and the high realms laid bare, but my flesh was torn and the black closed tight. No breath in my chest, no flame left to fight, and I would have died on that desolate throne if the god of the gods had not called me home. For back in the dark where the heart fires are small, they whispered my name and he heard them all. Oh, sky father, heaven lord, plume, serpent of bronze, you lifted my bones from the veil of the gone. No thunder shall echo from lips steeped in lies, no crown for the cruel, no praise for the wise. By prayers of the faithful, by tears that were cried, I rose from the ruin, though I should have died. Let my tale be etched in the stars that remain, of one who climbed high through agony's chain. If ever I twiffled, if ever I fall, remember who shattered the storm-cursed wall. Let the werewolf remember, let Middle-earth sing. He rose from the death mound by the God King of Kings.
All right, I'm gonna catch up with the chat just for a moment, and then I'm gonna, because I can't raid anyone for the most. I tried Lusty Links, I tried DJ, the guy from earlier. Oh my god, no one is fucking like actually like allowing raids on YouTube, and I'm trying to send everyone to the same person. So I guess we're going Lula Tila, right? Good night, Philip. Let's see, raid time exactly. Let's see, Waka Chaka. On YouTube, do we just go there or do we get redirected? We get redirected. Like when I shut it down, it should send you there directly. Enjoyed your stream. Notice channel is I'm not okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna answer Imperial first, and then I'm gonna start the raid. Okay. Let's see. Is your avatar meant to be the same kind of demon as the one from Panty and Stocking and Knee Socks? Okay, so the design idea came from very strongly Panty and Stocking, so that's why the association is there. But it's not the actual character like function, right? I left it intentionally ambiguous. But if you want the actual answer, the character is supposed to be a Devi, right? So it's like a kind of spirit in like the Indian folklore. He's basically written a whole book on the lore for his VTuber avatar, and it's complex, not based on any anime. Time to get reading. I tried. Like I tried Nasky, and she's not. I don't have her the ability to raid her on like YouTube. So when I get out, I'm gonna actually start like sending people requests to give me permission to actually raid them on YouTube, because I've tried to raid like 10 people, and no one is allowed. No one actually has like I don't have permissions to raid anyone except for like Lula Tila, like the opera gloves on your VTuber avatar. By the way, thank you. Okay, so let us raid. Okay, it should work.